All right. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the HHC podcast. I am your host, Jacob Moreno, and this time I'll have to do this episode solo dolo. We got the brothers out there taking care of family and some of them on trips and stuff like that. So, I get to just come to y'all from the lovely home of my place here in Lubbock, and now I'll be just doing this podcast solo dolo like I have done before. Um, so this is a this is again gonna be a solo episode. So if any of you are with me here today and anything is wrong, please let me know in the comments below about the music or my mic quality or whatever, so that I can try to fix that while I'm doing this live. But as I say that, we do come to you live every Sunday at the 10 a.m.s, where we go live to all three platforms of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Um, Make sure that you do follow us on Twitter at Heroes Half Court, where we do talk about the Spurs on the near daily. We love having the Spurs fan engagement, so don't don't be afraid to talk to us during the Spurs games. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much going to be just a short podcast because I'm only going to really talk about what my thoughts are on what this last week was, and just a little bit about like what might be to come this week. But the biggest thing that came out of this last week was that the San Antonio Spurs had beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in a nice little upset too. Um, Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, we had beat the Cleveland Cavaliers this last Monday, 111 to 112, and that was a really good victory because we were able to. I mean, like, we blew a lead towards the fourth quarter, but we were able to kind of keep our heads together, and not necessarily like take too big of a hit in terms of just being able to compete with one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. And while the Cavs have been a little bit up and down on their year in comparison to like the other contending teams, I think it was really nice to see us be able to take a W while still, like, I think, like, Donovan Mitchell. Let's see, Donovan Mitchell had like 20 points on 50% shooting, and Evan Mobley had 14. Um, he had 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, as well as Jared Allen also had 14 points. So it had guys like scoring. They had people that were like, doing their thing, but we were able to kind of keep Darius Garland out of the mix, and that really helped us a lot because him being cold that whole night, he was the last person to take a shot that game, and then it ends up being a brick, right? So it was nice to see us be able to like really fight with one of the better teams in the league, and a team that I really enjoy. I know my my brothers love to make fun of me for having jerseys of other players, and just being fans of players around the league that aren't part of the San Antonio Spurs. But a guy like Donovan Mitchell has always been a person that I've enjoyed watching during his time in Utah, especially his first couple years when he would put out a little bit more on the defensive side. He was just a spectacular player to watch, man, and then to see him come into Cleveland in a better situation. Now he's back putting in more effort on defense while still being a crazy scorer. Um, it was cool to see and entertaining, like the Cavs get beat by us, because we're kind of on the beginning of where the Cavs were not too long ago, just because the Cavs had to get their Evan Mobley, they had to get Darius Garland, they made their trades to get a Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, young guys like that build their whole core around, and then now they just added another star to the mix, and not really, they did give up quite a bit to get a guy like Donovan Mitchell, but not as much as what you'd expect. So it was certainly something that like you're hoping that the Spurs can be able to like follow in the footsteps of what the Cavs have done the last couple years in order to make this rebuild pretty speedy, because the Cavs were in the finals in 2018 with LeBron, and then what, it's been 4 years since then, and now it looks like they have a chance to at least make a deep run. I don't know if people are going to call them contenders quite yet. I don't know if things are going to go like their way or whatever, but I mean, this is their first year of Donovan Mitchell with that whole Cavs cast. So I mean, we'll see what's up with those guys. But going back to the Spurs, you're just hoping that in that same thing, we're probably in like year two of this rebuild. Year one, maybe, if you want to count that, like if you want to say that trading DeJounte is what started the rebuild, but year one and year two of this rebuild, and you're hoping that it can only take us like maybe like 2 more years at most to build up the rest of this core to get guys like Devin Vassell, to get guys like Keldon Johnson, even Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, Jeremy Sohan, all these first, second, third year players to really start to flourish, so that by year 4, year 3, hopefully, but by year 4, more likely year 5 type stuff, we're making a trade, or we're not a big destination, so I don't think we could get like a free agent signing, but still getting another star in the mix, to where now you have whatever lottery pick that we could have this next year, and maybe the year after that, plus Devin Vassell, plus Keldon Johnson, who are now 5-6 years into their career, and then Jeremy Sohan and Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham all starts flourishing. So it's certainly certainly something to look at the Cavs and see and think that there's a way that we could get to that same boat of where they're at, and then again, be looking at as one of the young teams to contend for the next 4 or 5 years. My brother Chris, like I said, he's out traveling right now. I think he said that he's in Phoenix at the moment, so he's on the road at the moment, but it's cool to see that he's in the comments still supporting the podcast, even though he can't be on today, right? But yeah, so I think there was one thing that I didn't mention during the Cavs game, which was Josh Richardson, and it's really nice to see him be able to go back into the role of just being a more 3-and-D prospect type of guy. Not necessarily a prospect, 3-and-D role player, right? And it was really good to just see that if we put him in the right position, that he's still good enough to be able to be on any contender and be worth it, right? So it's something like that for me that was really good to see him be able to come off the bench and score 22 for us against the Cavs, because again, like he's been, I guess, just a little inconsistent through the year, but it's mainly just because we've had to throw him in many different roles. One of those roles having to be a primary ball handling guard that has to make the plays. So it's like we've been throwing him in the fire in terms of just like what we've been asking him to do. So to see that Cavs game, him be able to just kind of play more off ball, play more into his own comfort zone and what he likes to do, So it was good to see him be able to score 22 off of that, because we want to continue to build up his value. We were seeing those reports the other week about Josh Richardson, and maybe Doug being on the trade block. So I love Josh Richardson, but I do think that the best case scenario is that we can build his value up so that we can send him to the right team, to the right contender, and be able to get our value back as well, right? So it was definitely exciting to see Jay Rich be able to do his thing. Josh is also here in the comments. Again, shout out to them. Having to take care of their own business today, but it's all good because I'm in the station. I got this. But yeah, no. I think that that was really good to see from the Cavs or from the Spurs beating the Cavs, right? To excuse me. Sorry, I felt like I had a sneeze right there, but I ended up I guess just like a misfire, right? um so it was really good to see us be able to take care of the Cavs, because we were on a nice little 3-game win streak, and obviously, we end up having to come back down to earth, and we're playing against Damian Lillard, playing against that I think I'm trying to remember what pick he is, number 6, Shaden Sharp or Shadion Sharp. I don't know which way it's pronounced, but I'm gonna go with Shaden Sharp for the remainder of this. That was a game that I wasn't able to watch too much, and it was in just because I saw the first quarter come in, and it kind of just felt like it was going to be another game that they were going to be able to control for the most part, that the Blazers were going to be able to control against us, and we were going to be able to we just weren't able to get our legs under us after a little bit. So Damian Lillard having 37 points against us is certainly something that I mean, he's coming back from an injury, so you don't want to see him score nearly 40, but it's Damian Lillard at the end of the day, and that guy's gonna get buckets any way that he wants to. So they really had a nice balance scoring for the Trailblazers, and it was just kind of something that we couldn't stop it, and nobody was able to get on today, but one of my questions was talking, like, we were going to go into a little bit of the advanced stats if we were going to be able to get into Jake's weekly trivia, and we were going to go into the advanced stats this week to kind of just shine some light on what it looks like when we're getting wins and stuff like that. But in looking for my questions and having those research questions, one of the things that I noticed is, we're still 30th in defensive rating in the league, and that's still a big deal. Like, you're our defensive rating isn't like terrible when we're winning games, but it's still like it's the worst in the league because we're averaging out just like some of the we're just we're not being a good ball club on the defensive end, and so even if we're winning games, it's still not like the greatest defensive rating. But Josh just asked me to ask the questions, so I can ask the questions real quick. I'll give you guys just like a little bit of time whenever I do get these questions out here. But through the Spurs wins, what do you think our offensive rating is? When the Spurs are winning games, what do you think our offensive rating is? Like I said, we're going to the advanced stats this week just because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to be able to put some stuff up. For reference, when the Celtics are winning, the Celtics are currently the best team in the league right now. When the Celtics are winning, they have an offensive rating of 122.9, and when the Spurs are just averaging out our wins losses, our offensive rating base is 108.2. So obviously our offensive rating is going to go up after wins, but when you include the losses, it's 108.2. The Celtics do have like the best offensive rating in the league, but that number is pretty close to what the Spurs offensive wins rating is. For our wins and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say that number right now, but it's kind of nice to see us be able to have like a pretty good offensive rating through the year, just because we're not necessarily known to have that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's still not the best just because we're young, and we're pretty inconsistent. So it's going to go like way up one night, but it's also going to go way down the next night. And that's why we're kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of our offensive rating this year. Excuse me, pardon me. So Josh does put up his answer. He says that it's 116 as his offensive rating. I'm gonna try to see if Chris can give us an answer here in a second, but I don't think, like I said, he's on the road, so I don't know if he'll be able to if the comment will be able to go in or whatever. But yeah, so Juan's also here, and he says that it's 112 when we're winning games. Juan, I'll go ahead and tell you right now that that's pretty low. in consideration to our wins, just because like I said, our regular rating is 108, and so to be winning games, you have to have like a substantial like difference, I guess. And I think only a 4 point difference isn't necessarily what what's really like the thing right there. But when the Spurs are winning games, their offensive rating is 117.2. So yeah, again, it 152 is a crazy answer though, because like I said earlier, when the Celtics are winning, it's 122. It's 122 when the Celtics are winning. So that's the cap right there is that this the Celtics are the best team in the league right now, and the best offense in the league right now, with theirs being at 117 as well through the games that they play total. So again, when they're losing games, they're still having a good offensive rating, and then when they're winning games, they're having one of the best offensive ratings. So it's stuff like that. But the Spurs have a 117 offensive rating, which again, that's good enough to have us at the bottom of the league. But it's like stuff like that where you can see how the best team in the league is just that much better at being able to move the ball around space, and they have two stars. They have Jason Tatum, they have Jaylen Brown, surrounded by a plethora of role players who know what they're supposed to do on a night-to-night basis. So that's that's how you can see where the difference between a team like us and the best team in the league can be, right? But there's one thing about the next question that's a little, I think y'all are going to be a little surprised at the answer to this, because I want y'all to guess who has the best offensive rating out of our guys who have played more than 10 games. Because if you don't take that 10 games into consideration, it's like Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson's at the top of the list just because he's played that little bit of time. I think 1, maybe 2 games. I think I remember. I think I remember Bill Land saying that Stanley Johnson got a little bit of play during the last game that we played. But yeah, I'm not too sure honestly. So he did have the best or the second best offensive rating out of our guys through the 2 games that he's played with us. Let's see who else had a really good offensive rating. Alize Johnson had a really good offensive rating through only 4 games. Blake Wesley through only 2 games had the best offensive rating. But again, you trying to get the guys who played the most. Actually, it wasn't Stanley Johnson. I was mistaken. It was Primo who had that number right there in the middle. But we're not gonna continue on that one right there. So who do y'all think had the best offensive rating through so far in the year, but they've had to have played over 10 games? So Josh says Charles. It'd be interesting to hear why you think it'd be Charles. Just because I don't know. I don't know if our big man would necessarily be really high up there with offensive ratings. I mean, obviously for defensive ratings, right? If I go to the defensive rating stats, Gorgie hasn't really played a lot of time, but he's the one who has the pretty much the best defensive rating out of the guys that have played a lot. Again, Blake Wesley's stats are just crazy just because he only played 2 games. So his numbers are just really, really wild. He's got a defensive rating of 146, which is outlandish. But Gorgie's got a 121, which is cool. And then Kata Bates is at 119. Jakob's only at 117 on our defensive rating. So it's interesting to look at the defensive ratings and see only Jakob be so far up there. Both Juan and Chris say Trey, and the guy with the let's see, Josh says just feels like he plays good in his little time on the floor. Figured it would be high. Well, yeah, the guy who does have the best offensive rating with 10 plus games under their belt is indeed Charles Bassey at 109.9. It's definitely interesting to see Josh put up Charles, because I didn't think y'all were going to to answer Charles at all. And so Josh giving that guess out there, man. It was on the dot. So that's again, it was cool to see that Charles was like the highest offensive rating in the advanced stats. But I also think that shows that, like, it's not the advanced stats don't necessarily give us the best picture in the world, just because we know that Charles Bassey is not the best offensive player on this team. So to see that he was the best, and it's not by a wide margin. He's got 109.9. Gorgie's at 109.8. Chris and Juan had said Trey, and he's at 107.8. All of our guys really have close to the same rating. Like I said, with Charles Bassey at 109. Our lowest with more than 10 games is Romeo Langford at 102.5. So again, we're just a young club, so we can be pretty inconsistent, which means that we're pretty much going to average out around the same in terms of our offensive stats. I didn't say Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell up there at the top or the bottom, because they're sitting there kind of in the middle, with Devin at 107.3 and Keldon at 108.8. So it's things like that where they the advanced numbers can be a little wonky, but it's showing that our guys are just kind of all over the place, right? And not necessarily having the right footing through halfway through December of the year. So it's definitely interesting to see that kind of stuff. But you guys did guess Trey, and that leads me to my next question, because again, we know that Trey has been our point guard. He's had to really step it up, and I think that he has. But what do you guys think Trey Jones's assist to turnover ratio is? For reference, Devin Vassell is second, and this was we know that Trey is going to be number one on this list because he averages the most assists. He doesn't necessarily get a lot of turnovers either. So Devin was second on the list, and he has 2.32. Malachi was third on the list, and he has 2.09, which is really good to see. I'm glad to see a younger guy like Malachi be able to get 2.09 assists per every turnover. Like that's not a bad ratio for a rookie. So it was really good, really nice to see something like that. But we know Trey's number is going to be a little bit higher than that one. So Josh gives his first guess, and that is 4.5 assists for every turnover. That's actually not a bad guess, just because yeah, I mean Trey's been making the right plays. He hasn't really been turning it over through the year, at least. I feel like when we're talking about just like this last week, we do have a little bit of stuff that we can kind of nitpick for Trey. He has, and I think a lot of it comes from him having to really do a lot more than what maybe he thought he was supposed to do. Most likely do a lot more than what the Spurs thought we were going to have to make him do. He's really had to learn a lot on the fly, and really take strides as being the only point guard on this team at the moment. So it's certainly something to think about, that when he's not having a good game, it's kind of hard to ask this guy to continue to give you 6 to 8 assists a night every night, just so that we can have a chance. So shout out to Trey. He's really been having to do a lot for us, and I think a lot of it is going unnoticed. But it's stuff like the missed layups and his 3-point percentage not being able to stay up high. He really has to try to find a way to evolve his game. if we're going to continue to be the way that we are as a team right now. So Juan says that it's 3.7. Chris just goes in between them two and puts it at 4. And currently, Tre Jones has an assist-to-turnover ratio of 3.4. So Juan was very close right there. And again, like, we're asking him to do a lot. I wanna hope that if I looked at this number like last week, if I'm looking at this stuff maybe like right at the beginning of December, that we really are like, he probably could have been at number 4, but just because he's had to do so much, that turnover ratio goes up higher just because he has to hold the ball so much longer and try to make plays, do whatever he can, and he's making smart plays, he's making pretty passes, he's doing a lot, and Chris says that he's truly number 3 in terms of responsibility, and Juan says to give him a point for being close, and I think I will, because that was a pretty close answer, just because yeah, it was nice. So. Excuse me, pardon me. But yeah, so Tre does have to do a lot for us, and you say that he's number 3 in terms of responsibility, but man, like it's like one of those things where the second Devin gets off the court, the second Keldon gets off the court, and Devin was coming off the bench for the last couple games. So the second that one of those two guys comes off, that burden just gets even higher and higher for Tre, So he's been having to do a lot for us, and it's I think it's another situation for me right now where same thing where I was like with Jakob, like how much do I give him slack for us being the worst defensive team in the league? Like if he's supposed to be one of the best defensive players in the league, then like why are we the worst defensive player in the league? And then same thing, like I guess like in terms of just looking at like guys like I guess like Romeo Langford, Tre Jones, maybe Devin, but Devin hasn't necessarily stepped up his defense as much as I'd like, right? But more on those 3 guys, just because I'd say that they're our 3 best defenders. We have like so much we have a lot of guys that do have. Like we have guys that can play defense, but like like why what is going on with us not being being one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and I guess like a lot of it does come from like we have good half court defense. Romeo's a good defender in the half court. Jakob's a really an amazing defender in the post in the half court. And Tre plays passing lanes pretty well, same thing with Devin. But our transition defense is really bad. And when our offense isn't rolling, it's just going to make our defense even worse, right? So it's things like that, I guess, that really like make us, still have the worst defensive rating in the league, and Keldon's not making it any easier. Malachi's a rookie, he's making his mistakes, right? And it's things like that where what can we do to try to fix that? But yeah, so finally, we're able to bring Josh to the pod. Josh is able to get on. Josh, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah. Really good. I got my crazy. Able to make it for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I don't know what. I guess maybe like your mic was a little. I'm off. Yeah.
Better.
All right. Cool. Sounds better. There you go. Yeah. You
okay. Yeah. So, like I said, my kids they're out of there. You know how they go.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. It's cool to see you be able to get back on the pod. Congrats on that Bessie question.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I did not. I was like trying to like clean. I was trying to clean. I made breakfast, and I was thinking in my head like, they're gonna think I'm cheating. I'm not even cheating. I was watching on my phone. Like, ain't no way. I threw Charles out there.
I know, man. That was definitely, an out there pick. I don't think anybody else would have thought about Charles Bassey, but
Yeah,
hey, man,
but
good
just
on you.
like I said, I feel like he's not on the floor for a long time, but when he's on the floor, he's like super effective. So it was kind of just well, he's played more than 10 games. I feel like he was gonna be. You know how you said, well, Blake's would be really high if he got the 10. That's how I felt about Charles. Like that's probably gonna
Hmm.
be real high, and he's gonna be right there.
Exactly. No, and you're right. Like, I mean, uh, when like he does put up decent little stretches, where we're just like giving him those lobs and stuff like that whenever
Yeah,
he's out there.
easy bucket.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's stuff like that where those things like that are really going to contribute. It was, in the two games that Blake Wesley was playing, he was able to do a lot in that little bit of time. So
Hmm.
that's why those numbers are just like really high up there, whenever you're looking at it. When you're looking at like the per 36s and you're looking at the advanced stats, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, we're just talking about the defense, and like, how, we do have a guy like Yak, we do have Romeo Langford, Trey Jones, these guys that, two Spurs fans, we want to call them like, good to great defenders, but we do have the worst defensive rating in the league, and I want to hear your thoughts on, like, what contributes to us not having the best defensive rating, like what really hampers us,
Yeah, mean, I do not have the answer to that, man. I mean, I feel like, yeah, when we have a guy like Jakob and we have like Devin, he's known, right? A 3-and-D, you would say, like a 3-and-D type of guy. Like, so we have a wing defender, we have a good post defender. Zach's not horrible down there. I mean, he gets blocks every now and then. Like, I don't know what it is. We get everybody goes off. Everybody goes off against us, and it's just the way it's been the last couple of years. I feel like no matter who's on the floor, we had an all-star point guard that was all defensive, and everybody still went off on the wings. So we need to do something.
hmm No, and I really wonder what we have to do to try to change that identity, to make that switch, of being the worst defensive team in the league to like
So
being able to be one of the better ones.
right, so I think that defense too is a lot of trust, and we have a new team, like pretty young new team. So I feel like as they get older and as they grow together, a lot of that trust will be there. You're going to trust, your help defender is going to be there when you open up and let him go, one way. And so I think that as they gel, like hopefully within the next couple of years, we keep getting better and better. And if we could add a guy, who knows, if we had a guy like Victor, a 7-footer down there, that's gonna help things too. So we
For
can
sure.
only
And
we can only pray.
exactly right. And then there's definitely a lot of talent right at the top of that draft too, with Scoot, and I think I've heard a little bit about those Thompson twins. So I
Hmm.
definitely think that anybody that you get, like, that has like that level of athleticism, that level of talent, it's not like they're gonna come here for us to be like, we're gonna let you just shoot the ball and not play defense, So um, I don't think Pop's ever allowed that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be one of those things where he's gonna make sure that those rooks will buy into to becoming a better defender, So it's
Right.
definitely exciting to see stuff like that, right? But in talking about our guys, our young rookies that we have right now, we had a really good game from Malachi Branham. I don't know if you were able to watch that Miami game, from last night, but we had a really good game from Malachi Branham, and obviously, Jeremy Sohan still doing his thing on the defensive end for us. But it's exciting that we're gonna see a guy like, Blake Wesley come back, right? And I want to hear what you think that the team has in store for him. Hopefully, what we could really like start to build with a guy like Blake Wesley coming off the bench for us, right?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I thought he was going to be like that was my rookie. I said who's going to be like our rookie of the year. We did our things, and I said Blake, just because I feel like he has a lot to bring at that point guard position. We were I didn't know about the Primo situation, but that's gonna, I guess, that opens the door for Blake, right? A lot more minutes, and it's gonna be nice. I'm hoping that he can control that offense when Trey's not on the floor. We talked about it, like, and y'all have talked about it too. Like, we need another point guard, so it's gonna be a lot on his shoulders, his young shoulders, to come and run that bench unit. But the way he looked in the only couple games he played with us, even in the G League, he put up a nice stat line the other night. So I think we hand him the reins to that bench unit, and hopefully he can make some good things happen. He's exciting, dude. That guy is quick, and he's not afraid to shoot that ball, and he's not afraid of anything. Really, it don't look like it. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, no, to say what his little stat line was, he put up 12 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist in only 20 minutes because they had him on restricted, right? On restricted PET, and I mean, it's good to just see him be able to still. I think I didn't get to see too much of what that game was, but in some of the highlights, it was cool to see Blake just literally get his first run for a game and still be that aggressive and not be scared to re-aggravate anything, so it's exciting to see him come back, because I think that can be a good boost, a good push of what this team might want,
Right.
and it's still unfortunate because I he's raw talent, right? Like, he was a 25th pick for a reason. Like he is raw talent, and there's a lot that we can build him into. But right now, the lack of a point guard is still kind of going to be there, like just for the fact that he is not a Trey Jones, the fact that he is not even like, what Derek White was when he was coming out of the league, right? And
But we don't even
it
know what he is yet for him to say he's not something, right? Because we've seen him 2 games, right?
Yeah, and I guess that's true, right? I'm mainly, I'm mainly talking about just what I've seen from like the summer league, and watching what that was so many months back, um maybe he does have his knack for playmaking. Maybe he can, like, come in and really just start to facilitate the ball, and take over that second unit for us, so that a guy like Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott can get even better, but we'll see. And that's what makes me excited. That's what makes me excited to see him come back, because we want to see. I'm ready to see what the experiment's going to look like. Once he starts getting more PT, and hopefully he does get a lot of run at once he starts getting back in the groove of things. I'm really hoping that. I know, like, Malachi's minutes have been really spotty, and I feel like that's just because we have Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott there and Romeo Langford as well to really keep him from being able to get those minutes. There shouldn't be a lot of people ahead of Blake Wesley, though. There shouldn't be. So that's like one of those things for me where hopefully he is getting more minutes, and then hopefully that pushes even more for Malachi. Like I said, he had a good game in Miami. I'm not, I don't want y'all to think that I'm like low on Malachi, but I'm hoping that, maybe he can be able to take like a good midseason jump and find his way into the rotation as well, and start to prove that he really should be there, um going a little bit later into the year. I think I'd be very excited to see a bench unit of Blake Wesley, Romeo Langford, Malachi Branham, and that's just because, like, in the sense of like we'd finally be moving on from Doug and Josh, right? And we're letting those young guys be able to get their run in, and I think all three of them deserve to have a chance to push their spots in the rotation, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was there anything through the week that you were excited to see? Let's see what real quick what Juan said. He just says that he wants more bench lineups with Blake, Malachi, Isaiah Roby, Romeo, and Bastian. And yeah, exactly. Like, it's stuff like that where all those guys that Juan just mentioned, they all deserve PT. They all deserve to get some type of run to be able to see what these guys can do. So. Well, we'll see what's coming around. We again the that like restriction deadline, or not deadline, but like the restriction opening, I guess, that for the guys to be able to get traded that just got signed has like finally come by. So, I'm sure the Spurs are in trade talks. I'm sure that we're trying to get something figured out to see what we could do to get a guy like Josh Richardson moved for a first round pick and stuff. So, we'll see. But yeah, Josh, was there anything that through this last week that you really liked seeing from the guys? Is there anything that you know just from any of the games at all? Like was there specific moments or players that you really enjoyed seeing?
No. Well, when they announced that Blake Wesley was going to be back, like obviously that was my kind of highlight. I was just ready to see him. Um, and you know what? And whenever it said that he was coming back, I was like, oh hell yeah! Like he's gonna. I didn't even think about the G League. That was like not even in my mind. And they're like, oh, he's gonna play with Austin. I was like, what the heck? I thought he was gonna come straight back and play, but yeah, I didn't get to see. I got to see like a little bit of the Miami Heat game. I forgot that it was early, and I was like, dang. So I kind of missed it. I was like doing some Christmas shopping and whatnot, and I missed it. So I barely got to see the L. I kept seeing the updates, and we were up by this much, and we're up by this much. So I was trying to watch it on my phone, and then I kind of caught the end. So I really honestly didn't get to see too much hoops this week. So hopefully that'll change this upcoming week. It's holidays. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to get stuff going, with the fam, and the Spurs have been unfortunately back there.
Nah, and it's all good. I mean, it's one of those things too where when like when we're on a winning streak, it's really nice to be able to like catch into that kind of stuff. But like once you start seeing like a loss like to Portland, then it makes it easier for you to be like, all right, I'm gonna sit this next one out or something like that, right? Just because you don't want to have to see every single loss be that bad, right?
See,
and
I try not to do it. I'm like, nah, like I gotta watch them. I'm supporting no matter. And then yeah, it's just like, oh, another L, cool.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's understandable. It is because again, like I don't think I was able to really watch too much of the Portland game other than just seeing like that first quarter and just I think like maybe a little bit of the second quarter, and by that point I like just whatever I had to do other than the Spurs game became priority because it was like, okay, well this is something that's like we just gotta move on from what's going on here and figure out something else, right? And this next week could be exciting because we're going against Houston and Orlando, two of the teams at the bottom again. A rematch against Houston will be is going to be nice to see because that's how we started our 3-game win streak. Hopefully it'll be a start of another win streak, right? Because again, we can give the one thing that is cool is that we can't give any team a run for their money. The one thing that's bad is that any team can give us a run for our money no matter what. So it's like it's one of those things where against a team like Houston, against a team like Orlando, we're gonna be able to see like a very competitive game, right? And then assuming that we're gonna see like a better version of Jabari Smith Jr. and stuff like that, because we really didn't see a good version of him against us that first night. Keldon Johnson was killing him, and then like I think like 2 nights later, Jabari Smith Jr. like pretty much locked Giannis down for his worst game of the season. So we're like, it's things like that where we were on the pod that next Sunday talking about, oh well, he's kind of bad. He's like, or he just he got bodied and stuff like that. This guy can't play defense, and these guys don't have a defensive mindset or whatever. And then like they freaking lock down the best player in the NBA. So it was things like that where I'm like, all right, they're young too. So on any given night, we can get a version of them that's going to be really, really good, or a version of them that's going to be really, really like, young. And it's the same way with us. So that's why I'm excited to see what it's going to look like against teams like Houston and Orlando. Not necessarily excited to watch us play against New Orleans this week, just because, Zion Williamson's always going to kill us. Jonas Valanciunas always has had Jakob's number, and maybe this week, he can change that. I'm on the side that I probably doubt it. Yak always gets killed by Jonas, and it's
Hey,
just a
are
trend
they
that
still number one? I know they took over that. Didn't they take over that spot?
pretty sure they are still number
The
one.
Pels.
So yeah, and that's good for them, but it's something that, like, we're gonna have to be dealing with that. We're gonna have to be dealing with the Pelicans that have Zion. We're gonna have to be dealing with the Grizzlies that have Ja. Maybe Houston
Yeah,
with
for
with
the
uh, with
next
Jalen and
10.
Jabari, and then Luka
I
Doncic in
know.
Dallas if they can get their situation figured out, right? So, that Texas division, man, it's going to be something for sure. But that's why
It's kind of
we.
sad. It's kind of sad right now how now we're at the bottom. We were at the top for so long,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
now it
and
just
and and
flipped
again,
quick.
yeah, when you're at the top for 20 years, at some point things have to change, right? Because I mean, yeah, Houston was never beating us in our time, at least in the playoffs, right? Houston was never beating us in our time with Timmy, and then even in the later years with Kawhi, right? Um, when the Pelicans had CP3, or I guess they were the Hornets at that point, right? But when they had
Yeah,
CP3, and then even Anthony Davis, like what were the Pelicans doing during that time, right? So it's stuff
yep.
like that where I mean, we were winning for so long and they were doing nothing for so long, and
Hey,
now
don't
all
forget
of a
about Dirk.
sudden.
Hey, Dirk got us a couple times.
And Dirk, yeah, well, and you're right. Again, like, I think that's
Yep.
like one of those things where my rivalry stems from seeing James Harden, seeing Anthony Davis, through these last couple
The newer
years,
gen.
the newer generation of
Hmm.
guys, and I don't really think about. I talked about CP3, but that's because CP3 is still in the league, so I remember him. Um, and it's stuff like that where I'm not going to really talk about the Mavericks because that rivalry was right at the beginning of the 2000s, and
Hey, but
definitely stemmed
you saw the
through.
Vince Carter dagger.
Yeah, that definitely stemmed
That was
through
live and in
to
person, huh?
in the 2010s, but I keep that in the back of my mind so I don't have to remember it, because I think that was my first
Yep.
live basketball game ever, and it happened to be a playoff game where Vince Carter sent us home crying. I was sad that night. It just so happened
Yeah.
that later that year we won the chip, so I was happy that, then.
That was a tough series. Didn't that go? It went 7.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Juan forgets it too. Yep.
so, you know,
Actually, you
it
know what? You
sucks
got
that
bad luck. I think it's the Jake curse. It
I think
happens.
that's
You
what
just gotta
that had to
sit them
start.
all
That
out.
was the start of the Jakob curse, right? Because
Yeah, it was.
there was the Vince Carter
Vince
3,
happened, and then DeJounte's leg
DeJounte
blew
tears
off.
his ACL. What
Yeah.
else? I don't
I
know,
think
man.
I think you did
I
get a dub somewhere in there, right? Didn't you get a dub somewhere
yeah,
in there? The
just a couple
Celtics game.
times. The Celtics one where Keldon dunked on
The
Grant
Celtics
Williams.
won. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I'll be in town within like the next couple weeks because we play the Celtics on the 7th of January. And that's home, right? So we get to play the Celtics on the 7th of January. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll
Hmm.
be in town by that point, or I'll still be in town by that point, and that way I can go watch us play against the Celtics again. That'll be exciting to see. If not, I think number 2 on my list is New York, being able to go watch the Knicks play against us.
January 7th. You know that's your niece's birthday. You talking about the Spurs? That's a
Hey man,
heartbreaker.
I'll buy her some Spurs memorabilia
Oh, okay.
at the thing. That'll
All
be her
right.
birthday present, right?
Honestly, she's downstairs watching on her phone, so she probably got it. She got proof
Oh no,
that she said that.
that means that she's got the receipt. She's gonna send it to me on the
Yeah,
7th. Like, where's my present?
that's it, boy. I hope she screen recorded it too. If not, we got the playback.
Yeah, no, you have to play back then. It's all good. I can't wait. I can't wait to be back in town and be able to see all my nieces and nephews. I mean my niece and my nephews. Only one niece.
Yeah.
Yeah, my plural nephews. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's like we really that's really all we got, in terms of just like what the Spurs have got going for us right now. Again, we're excited to see what Blake Wesley's got for us this week, and again, just looking at what next week can be. Being able to see Paulo for the first time will be fun, and we're hoping that again, the game against Houston on Monday and the game against Orlando on Friday are going to be some pretty nice and pretty fun competitive games, right?
Mm-hmm. That's how we got Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Yep, Monday, Thursday, Friday. That's our 3-game stretch on the week, and again, I'm hoping that we kind of I'm hoping that we kind of start to even out. I think Chris was kind of talking about it, even out just like a win a week. Now that we're starting to get healthy again, now that KJ is starting to get out of his slump, I'm hoping that we can start getting a win out of the week. So whether that's Orlando or Houston or both, I'll be happy. So I think
I don't mind that we beat anybody, but like whenever we come up on those Orlandos, the people at the bottom, like, oh, just beat us, just give us one there, and we'll get the win somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
so.
I'm
right?
still in the race. I'm still in the race. They could beat us.
Yeah,
I like to knock off like the Suns or something like that on the off night. I like to beat the Warriors at the Alamo Dome, but let the Rockets take it. We'll pull our starters in the fourth.
No kidding. Well, yeah. I think before we do go, the one thing that I do want to say was it was interesting to watch everybody, and I mean everybody. Like I would say pretty much Jimmy Butler was the only person that didn't look this fatigued. But yesterday, right, they're playing in Mexico City. Everybody on the court, Miami and San Antonio, gassed through the entire game. And they're talking about it. It's like the location of where the game is at, and it's like the altitude that's like making it harder for them to
way up right on that mountain.
Yeah, and so exactly. So it was making it harder for them to be able to play the game at like at a full strength type stuff, and they just have so many cuts to guys like Tyler Hero, Devin, Keldon, like all of these guys just like panting and having their hands on their heads and dying out there during that game just because they were like not used to that air yet. And it was really happening in the first 2 quarters, because by the third and fourth, like it was like not happening as much. They had finally gotten like a little more like used to it. But during that first and second quarter, man, those guys were like so tired. And again, I think Jimmy was the only player that I saw was just being like, it's the usual, whatever.
He's jogging out there.
Yeah, and just kind of doing his thing, But that's Jimmy, literally the most seasoned guy.
Yeah, he moves like so slow, and it's like, man, he gets to where he wants to go no matter.
Mm-hmm. And it's again, and that's why I enjoy a guy like Jimmy. That's why he's always been one of my favorite players in the league.
His picture makes me laugh with his long ass hair. He's all like,
when he trolled the league, it was great, man. But that's why, like, again, it was cool to see. It was cool to see our guys be able to kind of fight through that a little bit, and it'll be nice to see us be able to come back to our warm weather, our nice weather back in San Antonio and Houston and stuff like that, and be able to hopefully get out some wins this week. The last thing that I will say, I don't know when our next episode of the podcast will be, considering that next Sunday is the 25th of December. I believe that I'll be in Houston at that point, getting ready for some bowl game stuff for Texas Tech. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a podcast on Sunday. Maybe we could come to you guys on a Friday evening after the Orlando game.
So you're coming to town, right? So we're gonna record some games, or what? What are we doing?
Yeah, we might be getting some things, getting little things situated about us having some live games coming. So we'll see what that looks like whenever I am in town, and then maybe we'll be bringing y'all guys some nice little all-star break things. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, I wouldn't be looking out for a Christmas episode because I just don't think that's I don't want to put that on our guys to have to go live on the 25th like that. And again, we'll just see what that looks like. Again, I'll try to get those things ready. That way, maybe we can do again like a Friday afternoon video that'll come out on the Christmas break or whatever the case may be. But yeah, with that being said, guys, make sure that you do that you do follow us on Twitter at Heroes Half Court, where we do talk about the Spurs throughout the games. We love having the Twitter engagement with the Spurs Twitterverse. So it's really fun. We really enjoy it. Make sure that you do catch us live at the 10 a.m.s every Sunday on all three platforms of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All of which that if you do not catch us at our live times, the VODs will be on there shortly thereafter. But just like Juan said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody has a blessed day. The Cowboys are about to go whoop on some Jaguar booty.
Ooh, don't tell that to Chris.
We about to take some Jaguars out. And I really need it because I'm in the playoffs right now, and I'm not trying to lose to one of my coworkers here this week. So I need my Cowboys defense.
Who do you got? Oh, you got the defense.
I got that defense.
I got the defense too. So I need some TDs or something.
Mm-hmm. No, I actually think my fantasy was pretty good this week. I got Tyreek Hill doing some numbers for me. So the other person had Mark Andrews, and he only had like 6 points this week.
He didn't do much.
I think I'm pretty good, man. So we'll see.
I started the week off with Kittle, so Kittle did pretty good for me too.
Yeah, and they have oh man, Kittle. Yeah, I bet Kittle had a good week, and my opponent has CeeDee Lamb, so I'm a little scared for that because I'm not gonna root against our guys. So I like if CeeDee goes off and gets him 40 fantasy points, then so be it, right? But they also have Colt McCoy as their quarterback. So we'll see what the deal is because they had Kyler. They had Kyler Murray.
Who's your QB?
Who's my QB? Well, me being the Texas Tech Red Raider, I had to go with Patty as my quarterback. I had to make sure that guy was going to be on my team this year, and he's been amazing. He's been amazing. His off weeks are still like 20 points a week, so it's like I'm pretty much guaranteed 20 points every week. So it's nice to see from him. What's your quarterback? What's your fantasy team looking like?
I'm in 2 leagues this year, so in one I got Josh Allen, which I'm gonna buy because I got the 2nd seed, so I'm not playing in that one. But I got Dak. I got Dak today, so I need him to throw to CeeDee Lamb all day.
Yeah, man, we'll see what's up with our Cowboys. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Again, stay blessed, stay good, and we are out. Peace.